So you guys have probably seen the new Ruger Magpul pistol, the RXM. If you haven't seen it, we're going to talk about it, and we're also going to shoot it quite a bit. But this is a handgun that was made by Ruger. They manufacture it, they sell it, they provide it, but they worked in conjunction with Magpul for the polymer, the plastic, and the grip design. So it is the first, I believe, the first Magpul pistol on the market. Now looking at it, you're probably like, hey, that looks a lot like a Glock 19. Like almost identical to a Glock 19, and that's because it is. It's a Glock clone, yet another Glock clone. And I've seen a lot of people online go, we never asked for this, like we don't need more Glocks, like, you know, what the heck is this? Why don't we have some other weird, interesting guns? And to some extent, I agree with that. Like it'd be really cool if companies went back to making like 226s and, you know, full metal, like interesting guns like that. But for the most part, people are copying a very proven design, the Glock platform, and they're adding their little nuance, their little things to it. They're trying to upgrade it as well. So this frame, for example, already has some modifications that people make to their Glocks. Little scalp cut right here, so your hand can be a little bit higher in the beaver tail. One thing Magpul did is they actually removed some of the lump that's here on the Glock 19 to make it print a little bit less. They also just went ahead and beveled the inside, so you have a little bit of a flared mag well. So there's no need. There's also no way, it looks like, to attach an aftermarket, and that's okay. You probably don't need to do that on this handgun. This handgun is priced quite well, actually, for what it is. It's priced at currently $390 to $400 street price. It's like $440 MSRP, you know, buy it now from some places. But the dealer price on them is $340. So we should expect to see these guns floating around in the $370, $390 range, possibly a little more. And when people sell them used, they may be even cheaper than that. Now, in comparison to something like the PSA Dagger, another popular Glock clone, this is a little bit more expensive. And we will see, you know, if it's a little bit better. If it's $30 better is the question. Now, one thing that they have done with this handgun, though, that is intriguing, you have to pull the trigger again, is they have a fire control unit. So what this means, for those of you who don't know, is the trigger and the serialized part of the gun is all attached to this internal sort of trigger control group, this trigger system. So this entire thing lifts out. That is the firearm, technically, according to the ATF and all of their wisdom. This whole thing comes out. You could then potentially drop that into a submachine gun chassis, into a different frame. Magpul sells frames for 40 bucks. So you could, there's probably going to be other versions of frames in the future. So it's very similar to the P320. And, you know, maybe someday Glock will move to a FCU style system. But for now, Ruger and Magpul went ahead and did that. So now you have a Glock pistol, essentially, with a fire control unit. Now, one thing that I've seen some people mention online is, hey, they released a super modular gun, but with no modular accessories. And that is correct. There are no additional frames right now or slides to purchase, except there is black frames. Magpul has those if you don't like this gray. Although I think it's kind of cool. This is what it comes with by default. And so eventually, one can assume they're going to have a full-size model. They're going to have different frames, all sorts of different things. And it is priced fairly competitively. Now, as far as like, am I going to use this gun? Probably not. I have a lot of Glocks. But the thing about this gun that I like from an ideological standpoint is Ruger is a company that has a very different demographic of customers than, say, Glock or, say, you know, a company like BCM, you know, or even a company like T.REX Arms. But this handgun is a very modern take on a 9mm centerfire pistol that I'm really happy Ruger is making, and they're making it available to that customer demographic. That customer demographic, in my experience at least, are typically the people who don't want to buy a Glock because it looks too blocky, it looks too tactical. They want something a little bit more traditional. But now that Ruger is offering this, I have a feeling that a lot of Ruger gun owners and Ruger fans who don't want a Glock are going to end up buying basically a Glock made by Ruger. And so then they have a way of mounting an optic, which is modern because the future is now, old man. You should be running red dots, not iron sights. And they will have a way to also run a weapon light with a modernized pistol setup. So I'm really happy about that Ruger is offering that to their customer base because it is different than some of the other companies out there. Now, the most important thing though, well, not the most important thing, but a very important consideration when a new handgun comes out is, does it fit existing holsters? Because if you have to go purchase an all-new line of holsters, that's quite a lot of money, and there may be lead time associated. Not from our company. We're talking a couple days for a custom holster. But what I found when I got this, it was the first thing I did is took one of our sidecar holsters, Super popular. We make a lot of these, tens of thousands of these every year. And this one is made for a Glock 17, and it fits. Now, this is actually fairly remarkable because Glock clones don't always fit Glock holsters. But Ruger and Magpul, as they were designing this, I don't know if they did this for sure, went ahead and said, hey, we want this to fit existing holsters, I'm assuming, and it does. Now, the holster dev team does not necessarily like me saying that because the fit of this holster to this gun is not exactly to their standard. There is more rubbing on the finishing on the edges, I noticed after shooting this for one day. So if you do choose to use this pistol in a Glock holster from our company or another company, expect to see a little bit more finishing wear on the slide because there's some touch points inside of the holster formed to a Glock that is a different dimension than the slide of this particular handgun. But you can start training immediately. You've got a sidecar, you've got a holster from another company, you could start going to work. You have a Safariland, I'm assuming this will work in a Safariland just fine, so you don't have to go out and buy a whole new slew of holsters. We probably will make holsters for this gun, so you do have the proper fit and finish that T.REX Arms is known for, but if you want to save some money, just use a Glock holster, so that's pretty cool. But to start off, let's go ahead and shoot. I'm going to start with a sidecar. We're going to run a weapon light because, you know, it's the future. This is a TLR7 HLX. My favorite light, also the light that I carry with. We want to make sure it is tight enough. Another note I will make, because there's a lot of content creators that are making videos on these guns. We have no relationship with Ruger. In fact, I don't think I've ever talked to an employee from Ruger knowingly. I mean, they've probably messaged us and bought stuff from us, and I just don't know. So we bought these guns from a distributor, so we did not get hand select models. And what we're doing, this is a new initiative for 2025 for T.REX Arms. We have two different guns, two different models of this, same gun, same model. I said that really badly. This one we're screwing around with, like in this video. We're just gonna run around and shoot. I shot 90 rounds a couple days ago for some social media stuff, but another gun we're putting off to the side, new in box, we're not touching it. We're not gonna like shoot it and do anything with it because we're going to have some product evaluation guidelines and a standard that we're gonna publish on our website so that any evaluation that we do in the future is going to be done according to that standard. We're gonna have a handgun one, a carbine one, a precision rifle one, and you guys will be able to look at that. We're gonna have certain ammunitions that we've approved, how we clean it, how we maintain it, how we replace parts. That way it's consistent across the board as we are testing and evaluating different handguns. Not every gun that we shoot for videos is going to get that treatment, but when we create a video that is an evaluation video, it will be following the rules, it will have a logbook, it'll have everything done to it, and so that there's some consistency. Because as I've seen in various videos we've done, people get very opinionated about how we do things or how we don't do things. And it has evolved over time and varied, and it pisses some people off, and I totally get that. So we're trying to standardize a process. You guys will probably still be pissed off at the process potentially, but it's going to be consistent across the board, whether we're shooting a handgun from Ruger, a handgun from CZ, a handgun like a new Glock of some sort. If we happen to evaluate that, it's all done with the same guideline in mind. But this one is just sort of a mess around with gun. I'm not tracking round count. I'm not like following a bunch of rules. I'm just shooting it as I would any normal gun. Now, the optic mounting solution is actually really cool. They have a bunch of holes on the top side that you get 4 posts with the gun included in this little bag. You drop the posts where they need to go in the holes to match up with that particular optic. Drop the optic on, drop the factory screws in, and you're set. Super simple. I wish Glocks did that instead of the MOS plate because I really don't like MOS plates, but it is what it is. So, sidecar with an extra mag. And we already zeroed this, so we should be good. Jeez. There we go. Now we're good. Spare mag. Mag carrier, I didn't check the retention. It's a little tight. Should have done this earlier. And not all Glock mags are, like some of them are stiffer. There's like some tolerancing or something. So this is something I've actually noticed over time. I'll get like one mag that's fine, and then another mag that is actually super tight, which is annoying. The pistol comes with 2 P mags, that is the first thing that I would not get rid of, but I would upgrade to Glock mags. They have a more proven track record than PMags. I haven't had any issues with PMags, but I would just get Glock mags, especially if you were choosing to carry this gun. Which, if you do, cool. Just make sure you go shoot it first. I recommend putting 1,000 rounds through it before you carry it to make sure you actually trust it. Start with something simple. SMB ammo. We should be okay. No light strikes, nothing like that. We'll just do 2 on each, so bill drill, but on 3 targets. All right, pretty loose grip. That's a 235. I'm gonna clean it up. Alpha Charlie, 2 Charlie, 2 Alpha, 235. First shot in 115. That's my cold start. And do it again. Still feel like the gun's moving around a little bit. 223, and that is a all alpha run. Close, close, and there. All alpha in a 223 with a 108 first shot. So the gun is shooting, and this is what's important is when I look at new products like guns, I don't just pay attention to like how it feels right here. I want to see what it does out there, because that's actually what matters. What kind of performance I can put on targets downrange, how consistently, how fast. That's the stuff that actually matters. And so when I start getting into reloads and things like that, I'm not just, reloading and paying attention to the gun as I'm trying to assess if it's a good product. I'm trying to see, like, can I do it in a decent time? How does that compare to other products on the market? In my opinion, that's what good product reviews are. They're based on performance downrange, not just, oh, I think it feels pretty good and the mag is nice. Like, no, let's actually see what's going on downrange and see some stuff. So, grabbing a new mag. Let's do some distance. So, we'll do this guy at 15, 6 rounds. It was actually, no, it was 6. Got 1 Charlie. Looks like I shanked that sucker bad. Grip sucked. Got 1 left and 1 right. So the gun's recoiling about this, very similarly to a Glock. So 1 Charlie at 15. Oh, actually this is, I want to say I shanked one pretty good, but we're gonna say I missed. I think I missed. So that was not great. 3-6, 5 alphas, 1 miss. I think it was off to the left side because that's what it felt like originally. Let's do, I'm just gonna take the draw out, take that out of the equation. Do this guy again. Okay, I see what's going on. The other thing is they added this little ledge. It's actually kind of nice. I will say the grip feels good. Magpul definitely knows what they're doing with polymers and the appropriate amount of stipple. It was a 2.9. Okay. So on this guy, I slung one that way. The gun I saw recoil off to the right. I started focusing on the dot as well. Part of that's the lighting conditions. And it was the same thing on this guy. So I have 5 alphas and then I'm dropping 1, which sucks. Now I am shooting that fairly quickly. 3 zeros, 4 twos. It's actually not that bad, or not that great. Now let's do just a bill drill from the draw on a single target. We'll get to reloads here in a minute. I should actually be dropping all my bad ones. Go to 7. Sub 2 is the standard, right? Like you gotta do it in the sub 2. ease. 2-1. Gotta tighten up that left hand. Okay, that fixed it. 2-2. Okay, I'm gonna have a hard time just off of the draw because I haven't practiced a whole lot. So that last rep was right here. This trigger, I'm gonna say this. I noticed this, those are 2-1, a 2-2, a 2-1, a 2-1. Okay. This trigger compared to a money, be fiscally responsible, everyone, save your loose rounds. The trigger sits further forward. You'll see that my finger's bent, like fairly like out there. If you have smaller hands, this may be a problem, but the trigger itself like sits much further forward, I feel like, than a standard Glock trigger, which is what I'm comparing to, which is also reasonable. That's what this gun's trying to be. And the weight is pretty hefty. So my best splits are 2-1s. Let's actually, I'll shoot this guy. Let's see how fast we can run the trigger. It's not gonna matter once we get in there, but I just wanna see. That's a 1-7. It's a 1-8. All right, now we can look at all those. 1-8, a 1-8, a 1-8, a 2-1, a 2-1, a 1-9. Okay, so I can do 8s fairly easily if I'm really bearing down on the gun and I relax this hand a little bit. But this trigger is not, right now, letting me go super, like, insanely fast. But I'm pretty happy with all this. The real question is going to be once we get into here, like, what's happening, and can I just keep gripping the gun, you know, nice and consistently. What time are we at? Okay. We're now going to go do something fun. Because I can keep doing this, right? And a lot of evaluations that people do are super close, and that can be good. But where the gun is gonna like have issues, or when the wheels are gonna fall off performance-wise, is when you start stretching some of the capabilities of you yourself, and just with what we're going to do. So we're gonna do something fun, something realistic even, you might say. I need to secure my timer. All right, so that is my hostage rescue drill. Now I call it that because it's, it's kind of fun and whatever, but the purpose of the drill is you begin kind of far away, dead sprint as fast as you can to the first shooting position, which is at like 25 meters, where you begin engaging an open target on the move. Now the goal of this target is not all A's. The goal of this target is to see how fast can you shoot and like look for a pattern while moving at practically full speed. So I have one over the shoulder here, and I have one miss. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have two misses over the shoulder in step, because moving towards the target's harder. And then as I got closer, it became much easier to shoot it. So that's not great, but I'm not gonna slow down my movement to fix this. I need to focus on where I'm looking. I need to focus on timing, potentially the shots a little bit more, because I know I can do better than this. Slowing your feet is not the answer. That's not going to allow you to push the training. That's what that target's for. This target is the hostage taker target. You arrive in position after moving 50 meters and shooting full speed, and then you have to take a well-aimed shot. That's okay. This is what I should do. This means I shot it like a wuss, and I held too far right because I was trying to be careful. Overall though, this is not like a pass-fail drill. I mean, besides shooting a hostage, this is an assessment of Just how fast can you do some tasks, shoot a target, check your pattern, your group, and then can you slow down enough to process what you need to do to take a low percentage shot after doing a bunch of stuff. And as you can tell, I'm kind of out of breath, but that's what happens when you talk after sprinting. But now, let's shoot some longer drills. A little more technical in nature. I'm not gonna worry about those anymore. We're gonna reload. And we're gonna swap to a new holster solution. So sidecar, cool stuff. Although I didn't do reloads, I just realized. We're now going to use my speed belt because I really enjoy this. And this one, we don't make it in multicam black. This is a special one of mine. Don't ask. Sometimes I like having special things. We might make it in multicam black if you ask nicely. Maybe. So this holster is my standard Gen 3 Ragnarok, which I use all the time. And once I take this and remove the light, I'm set. Now I will say, you may need to tighten the retention a little bit more. That's what I've noticed, because a Glock just like fits better, I guess. I'm gonna run this a little loose. Well, actually, no, I'll tighten it a little bit. You'd think I'd have tools out here, but I'm not gonna take the time to get it. Yeah, screw it, it'll be fine. I'm drawing immediately anyway. Rag carriers on the side, because I'm using Glock mags, I don't have to worry about different mag carriers and different retentions. I can literally just run my standard Glock mags and I'm set. So I've got 3 of these bad boys. Timer. And we will do so him, partial, disappearing. Yeah. Actually, I'll skip that guy. Nah, I'll shoot him. I'll shoot everyone. And I gotta reload at some point. So what this is doing is, I know a lot of people are like, this is unrealistic. You're shooting like 12 guys, this isn't Die Hard. What this is testing is, can I maintain proper fundamentals on the pistol for a prolonged period of time and mentally get through a bunch of stuff? Like if you can't do this on the flat range with no stress, how on earth do you expect to do it like with rounds getting fired back at you or whatever scenario you want to give? So like, this is very complex, it's very technical, it requires a lot of mental discipline. It also requires a lot of discipline of executing the fundamentals consistently, good grip, good sight pictures, looking at the right things. It's the best training possible. Stand by. Shooting into the sun sucks. So, a little discipline problem at the beginning. 2 alphas. We'll check hits once. We're not gonna pace. We're just gonna move through. But for those of you who, have concerns, 2 A's. And that was into the sun with the delta point. 2 A's with the partial. And that's my first run. No game, like barely gamed it. Thought through it at the beginning. Alpha Charlie, 2 Alpha. This guy, I actually started to lose with my wall. So a headshot and an Alpha and 2 Alpha. I would say that's pretty good. Like, I'll take that. For a first run, he's an Alpha Charlie. And this guy is, oh, I didn't shoot that guy. That guy's Okay, well, I botched this guy. 2 Delta. I don't even know why, which is bad. All right, guys, I guess it turns out I suck at shooting. That actually pisses me off. But here's what's cool. As I shot this entire drill, because I'm so focused on the drill itself, I didn't notice anything about this pistol. I shot it just like I would shoot a Glock. Dot goes on a target, I'm gripping nice and tight, I'm shooting off of my dot, or depending on target size and distance. Hit the mag release for the reload, load was perfectly good. I haven't trained with this gun on its own like a whole lot. Like once you have good fundamentals and you take a handgun that's similar, you don't really have to worry about a whole lot. And that's the kind of thing you want to do. If I shot a drill with a new handgun and I felt like I didn't know what I was doing because the gun's behaving really weird, that's where like a reviewer should pick up on that and be like, hey, the input of the gun, like what it's telling me is inconsistent and it's hard to control, it's hard to manage. This gun, I'm shooting it just like a Glock, shooting it like very consistently. Next drill is gonna be a little faster. I'm gonna be up close. That reload was fire. Really happy about that. This is gonna be everything up close. So, boom, boom. Backing up. I'm sure everyone will say things about crossing my feet. You can cross your feet, everyone does. You do it in real life all the time. And then no shoot on this side, just for a training comment. If you start training with no shoots, again, to push shooting discipline where you need to look to shoot, put it on the side you're transitioning over from, so your dot passes over this, because normally what a lot of people do, because they're undisciplined and they haven't focused on it, is the second the dot gets close to the target, they shoot. In this case, I can't do that. I need the dot to be exactly where I want to shoot to avoid hitting this. Yes, it means I'm going to laser over this target. That's okay. But that's the goal with this target right here. It could be hard cover, but it's a partial no shoot, and that's okay. The other thing is, if you're setting up a drill like this with blockers, vision blockers, try to set it up so you don't begin with the target in view. It just adds some complexity to the rep, and it forces you to start wall hacking. Like, it's this guy, that's where I'm going first. I'm not going to do a hands up start because that's stupid. I'm looking towards that direction, so I'm picking him up nice and early. It's just building good habits, and I should be able to shoot this relatively quickly. I'm going to do a reload as I get into that position. Stand by. Oh, yes! Heck yeah. All right, now backwards. This is another thing I like to do. When I'm doing a lot of training stuff, this is my first one take with a handgun, I believe. Also, these bolts are daisy chained. I'm getting like hot ones and then like really soft ones. Same thing, I'm not gonna see the targets. I don't run the same drill over and over typically. I do it like a few times if I'm trying to rep out a very specific thing. But one thing you can do to speed up training time is just shoot the drill backwards. So same target arrangement, but now you're transitioning in a different direction, right to left. You're moving right to left, you know, doing everything differently, and I don't have to do any reset. So him. Still have to hit that guy going backwards. I kind of didn't go backwards. I was like this and got 2 alphas, so that's pretty cool, I guess. That was a 920, so it's gonna be about the same. Just because I've already shot this drill once doesn't mean it's gonna be faster. Let's do it. Good to go. I may have some pass-throughs on him to the back guy, but you'll see, again, looking for patterns. I'm not pacing hits every time. Good to go. This is from, because I'm shooting it on the move, left to right, right to left. These are drag on, drag offs. No partial hits. A 5 Alpha Charlie. This is going backwards, right? I do have a bad, and that was, I think it was is that the first rep? Yeah, I think it was the first rep. I think that's what that was. And then this is solid. Starting target and target as I arrive from that position. So that's not too bad. Now let's do heavy round count. So this is where, so that's 2 on everything. So it's highly technical. One thing I've started to do for some of the pistol evaluations is 5 rounds on every target, which becomes more of an endurance thing because it's annoying and depending on the gun you're using is painful. So we're gonna do, we'll do 5 because it's fun, right? Lots of round count. So all 4 of them. And then we'll run, we'll go into here. Because then I have to hit this no-shoot dude. I have to hit this no-shoot guy on the move or get up here to be static. Yeah, I'll have at least 1 reload. So these are close, it's kind of hosers, but this is gonna test my grip a lot as I'm dumping 5 on everything and kind of weaving through all these cars. You know, it's all tactical. I could jump on the car maybe, do some really cool stuff. I'm kidding, I'm not doing that. That was 2019, Lucas. Now we have new version. I have to reload after the 3rd one. Ham, reload, ham, move down. 1 reload, we'll be all right. So, a little bit of trigger freeze, trigger stuff. I think a lot of that is how heavy the trigger is. I mean, it's me sucking, right? That's what that means, but the trigger weight is not helping with some of that. Like if I just drill both these guys, 10, it's 5 and 5. See what that was actually, it felt pretty good. Gun moved a little more than I wanted. And it's because I relaxed my right hand to work the trigger, and my left hand, I felt it relax too. So it means I saw. 20, 19, 21, 19, 21, and 18. Yeah, so it's 18 and up is what I'm getting, and that's perfectly fine. Like for all the stuff that I'm doing right now, 2-1 splits, 2-0 splits, perfectly acceptable. I'm getting good hits. I could take this to a match, probably shoot okay. It's actually doing pretty well, which is super fun. Now let's do a scored drill. It's called the Bill Drill Rundown, which we already have a target that was shotgunned, but you guys can remember which one what the hits were. I'm not worried because you guys are cool. One of you nerds will probably count the rounds and be like, oh, actually there were 6 on the target, not 5. Because I know my audience and I'm very self-aware. So the Bill Drill Rundown is on a single target. This is from X-Ray Alpha, Matt Pranka. You guys know who I'm talking about. And if you don't know, you should. This seems kind of far, but that's okay. It's 6. I used to do a lot of 5s, but it's 6 from here on a target 25. This may be 30. That's okay though. 6 rounds, run to the 10, 6 rounds, reload from the 10 to the 7, or the 10 to the 5. I think it's 5, real close. You do another, it's a 7. 10 to 7, you do a reload while walking, which 3 meters to do a reload. You don't have a lot of time, it's not a lot of dead space, unlike a drill like this. So it's testing a lot of really good stuff. Now that target's already been shot a little bit, but like I said, there's 2 A's on it, there's 2 Charlies, and then there's, I think, 2 Deltas. I feel like my dot's a little too bright. Whew. I think sub 10. I think Matt's shot it in 9. Brantley's shot it in like 9. Okay, that's a fresh. I know that. Most are in the A. These are new. So I've got a couple Charlies from this, a couple Deltas, everything else is good. And that's in an 1144. But the cool thing you all saw, we'll go isolate it. The reload, the ergonomics of the gun, not a problem. I was able to hit my reload, mag went right in, and I was just fine. Not all guns, not all engineers design guns to be intuitive. I'm sure you guys can think of a gun that absolutely sucks because it's an engineering feat of amazingness for the engineers, but for the consumer, it's like shooting, can't think of a good analogy, something bad. So let's just do a little reload drill. Not a 1R1, something more productive. 3 reload 3. Now let's just see how fast we can make this. I kind of reloaded like a wuss there at the end. Grip at the end's pretty good. So yeah, the reloads without practicing on this specific gun are, didn't regrip well enough, are pretty good. That's fun. So good job back there. It's actually kind of cool. Just a little bit. But I like my Glocks. I'm still going to use my Glocks because I already have like 10 of them and they're great. What time do we have? What time? 37:18. Okay. So I think that concludes the shooting portion of this. So my assessment, my evaluation of this new gun is I have now shot another, it's probably like 180 rounds. Again, one of you nerds can count. I shot 90 on Monday. And I could shoot this gun. It's a very shootable pistol. I'm doing some things with it on partial targets, stuff on the move that on certain handguns, like say an HKP 30 or something, or something with kind of weird ergonomics like a USP, certain SIGs. It's just harder to make the gun do what you want it to do. Now, some of that is I've shot over 250,000 rounds on Glocks, so I'm very familiar with this platform. But some of it too is just some guns are just easier to shoot. Like there is that, kind of like a staccato in some ways. It is just easier to shoot, and I would classify this gun as being one of those. If you're a new gun owner, like let's say a FUD goes out there, this is their first modern handgun. This gun's not going. I don't think this gun's going to hold them back, performance-wise. This gun is going to be just fine. The trigger is my only concern. This trigger could be a little lighter, like half a pound. That may be a tolerance issue at the factory, and they're just unable to make the trigger, a whole much lighter. The optic plate system, I wish Glocks had it. I really do. It's the same as what the Echelon has. You have a bunch of holes, so you can play cribbage on it. It'll take any optic. It's got posts, no plate, so there's only these 2 screws that can fail. I think that's the best way to do an optic plate system outside of actually building a red dot into the slide, which would be totally dope, and I can't wait for someone to do that. And it's very like Borderlands-esque, but I think that'd be pretty cool, having a red dot built into the gun, kind of like some of the old guns with irons that were like built in. The gun also comes with, I didn't mention it, a hybrid suppressor height sight. It's not super tall, which I actually really like. So most optics, they should sit maybe in the bottom of the window. They may actually end up being in the middle. I don't like that as much because then you have the rear potentially blocking, like if you're at certain angles with the dot. In this case, I have a delta point on here. It's super tall. It ends up, I'm not seeing the irons at all, which is fine because I'm actually not a big fan of backup irons on pistols. I'm just not. But overall, it's a pretty nifty gun. I think it is a good addition to the market based on what I've seen so far. We are going to evaluate this gun with like 6,000 or so rounds with the guidelines that we're writing up right now, and then you guys will see what happens. Maybe we have issues with it, maybe we don't, maybe it just runs really good. Again, it's based off of a very tried and true platform, which is Glock. I mean, it's why everyone keeps ripping Glock off, because it works. They work really well. And maybe you guys like some of the ergonomics of this more than a Glock. The stippling's different. It's already got the scallop cut. This little, hump is sanded down, so it's a little, it doesn't print quite as much. Like, there are some things about it that are a little more modern than your typical Glock pistol. So, with all that said, I hope this was interesting. I hope this is the kind of review, evaluation, or just like getting out and actually showing the product in use that can help you guys make a well-informed purchasing decision. And because that's important to us here at T.REX Arms. We are not here to just, new product comes out, we gotta produce a video first. It's kind of like journalism. Like, a lot of people scramble to be the first to write a headline, not necessarily tell the truth, and that's a big problem. So we are trying to bring truth to this very shilly market with decent product evaluations by people who can shoot and know what's going on. I don't know everything about guns though, I'm not a gunsmith, but can actually get out and shoot and see what's going on with it, because I think the industry needs a lot more of that, and especially consumers need a lot more of that. So, thanks for watching, guys. I will see you all next time.
Good? Yep.
This won't blow up, will it? That's a Gen 3 Glock Slide. Dropped right onto the fire control unit. So, do with that information as you will.